Alrighty everybody, welcome back. Happy New Year. I hope you all had a great New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I know we've been silent for a few days, but that's just because it is the new year and we're just trying to take things a little bit easy today. But today we have decided to come back, and for our first video of the new year, we are doing more of a hopeful, joyful kind of one, I guess, before I hear any of this background stuff. But the song that I know this song, and the one that how I always interpret it is, oh, here it is, we're breaking into something new, this is the Beatles, Here Comes the Sun, and we actually have it on the Abbey Road album behind us, and the vinyl actually looks a little warped, so we're gonna see what happens to it, because I didn't see if it actually played all the way through. So we'll see what happens. But either way, we've got it on vinyl behind us.
We'll see.
And yeah, I know a little bit about this.
This is a bass player pick.
Yeah,
By the way.
This is. Because when I was thinking of New Year, first song of the new year, Here Comes the Sun. It's gonna be all right. So
after 2020, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This was your song of hope.
This was my song of hope. So right, exactly. So give us a little background on this, and then we'll drop the needle.
George Harrison wrote it.
Okay.
Which is kind of refreshing in itself because it's not a McCartney. It's not a Lennon-McCartney song.
Okay.
Sounds kind of like it would be a Paul McCartney song, just because he was the sunshiny kind of songwriter. But definitely George Harrison. He actually wrote it with Eric Clapton.
Oh, okay.
And what I didn't know about it, and this is kind of fun for me, was that he was walking around with Eric Clapton in Eric Clapton's yard in the garden.
Okay.
And they were walking around on it was after their business manager, or after the Beatles' business manager, Brian Epstein, had died. And the Beatles were going through kind of taking care of all the business arrangements and the accounting stuff, and
right.
They weren't really playing. They were just trying to get all the business affairs in order and whatnot. And George was just kind of done with the business stuff, and hadn't played for a while. And so he was just trying to get away from all that. He and Eric Clapton were walking around in the garden.
Yeah.
Okay, with their guitars, and they said in Eric Clapton's documentary, Eric Clapton was saying that it was a sunshiny spring morning. He goes, it was a beautiful morning, and they sat down, and George started playing his guitar, and he started singing, and the first few lines of this song came out.
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun.
And he just started singing, and they sat down, they started writing it, and this is what eventually came out. So it was pretty cool. Now at this point, they said that the Beatles had already stopped being a touring band, so it was never played live.
They only toured for like 4 years, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a very short touring time.
And now they're one of the most well-known groups in the world.
Studio band.
Yeah, in the world.
Right. And so what I didn't realize was that, number one, what I had never thought about was that, it wasn't played live until George Harrison actually
did it.
Went out on his tours, yeah, and he very rarely played it live. That was one of the things that I had never thought about. But the other thing is that the song is so well known,
right?
Okay, and it gets so much airplay. It never charted in the U.S.
Oh, really?
It never made it on the U.S. charts. It ranked number 58 in the U.K., but it never hit the U.S. charts at all.
Wow.
That's
really surprising.
With all the airplay that it gets, I never ever thought about that. So, or I never knew it.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of a little bit of trivia that
Wow.
So go for
Yeah, because like everybody knows this song
Everybody.
in one way, shape, or form, through a movie,
No.
through a TV ad, through something. Everybody knows
Now
this
it's
song.
been covered a ton of times
Right.
by people.
Yeah.
Okay. The covers
Have charted.
have charted.
Right, or a
Okay.
lot of them have.
But the original George Harrison version that we all know
Right.
as the Beatles,
Yeah.
because it was on Abbey Road,
Yeah.
we know it as the Beatles. We don't necessarily know it as George Harrison.
Yeah.
But we know it as the Beatles.
Right. It
because
says
of the album.
it says it on there. It says Harrison
Yeah.
on it, but I guess that's just because it was the writer.
Right.
Just like
But we know
on
it
like
as
a
the
lot of
Beatles.
like Queen albums or whatever. It's on
Right.
a Queen album, but it has like Mercury, Deacon,
Right.
May, Taylor,
But-
whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. But we know it as the Beatles.
Mhm.
Okay. But like I say,
It didn't. Wow.
Yeah, it never charted, but like I say, the covers have
Right.
charted.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
of them have charted as high as number 15 or 16. So that's kind of screwed. That's kind of screwed up as far as I'm concerned. But anyway,
Anyway.
that was it.
Yeah. Just go ahead and drop the needle. It's all set. And again, we'll see what happens here because of that warp.
Oh man, that looks pretty funky, doesn't
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
it? Okay, here we go.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun.
So far, so
Here
good.
comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's alright. It's alright.
Oh, okay.
Simple.
Yeah. We don't want the next one. I don't know what
It's-
the next one is, but we don't want it.
I was I was looking to see if I could see who played in this.
Okay.
Like if Clapton played in it,
Mhm.
or who was playing drums or whatever.
Mhm.
And it wasn't saying, but it did say the interesting part was that John Lennon didn't play in this
Okay.
because they were having a fight.
That's right.
And Lennon,
because they were having a lot of fights at that point.
And Lennon wasn't playing on George's stuff, but it was interesting to note that George played a lot on Lennon's stuff, but Lennon wouldn't play on George's stuff.
Lennon was the nicer one between the two at that point.
No, George was the nicer one.
Oh, that's
George
right. Yeah,
was playing on Lennon's stuff.
Yeah, that's what I meant. My bad.
Because if you go and you look on Lennon's stuff, when Lennon was doing like Imagine and stuff like that, George played a lot of guitar on Lennon's stuff.
Right.
And there was synthesizer in there as well, which the Beatles didn't use a lot of synthesizer. George was starting to
experiment and get into things. Right.
And yeah, you know, so I was hearing George was the one who was bringing in like Indian sounding stuff. If you remember back in, I don't know if you remember, we did some stuff last year. We did a Beatles, I forget what it was, or at least we listened to one.
Okay. Because the Beatles that I remember are Twist and Shout and then the NME performance.
But we listened to one like A Day in the Life or something like that of George was using some
I remember you talking to me about
Indian Indian type of
I remember you talking to me about it.
Okay. And he was bringing some different instruments in, and which kind of sounded like synthesizer stuff. Okay. But this, he actually started bringing some synthesizer stuff into.
Ah, gotcha.
And so he was the kind of, you know, everybody thought of Lennon and McCartney bringing in, you know, the experimental stuff. But George actually
brought in
even though he was the quiet Beatle and nobody, you know, listened to him, he actually brought in a lot of experimental stuff. Nobody listened to him. I just wonder how much influence he actually had
over stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Even if it was subliminal, you know, over some of the stuff that they did. Just curious. But he may have had more influence than people think, or that they ever gave him credit for. But anyway, it's a good, you know,
it's a good song.
It's a good song, and it's a peaceful song.
Yeah.
And he was the peaceful one out of the whole thing. You go back into his history, and he was the one who was always talking about peace and fulfillment and meditation, and that's what his whole life turned out to be. Gotcha. So, you know, maybe unbeknownst to you about that, you probably couldn't have picked a better song to start 2021 out with.
Awesome.
You know, with Lennon, eventually in his life, when he came around to give peace a chance and all that, that was more once he became in the anti-war movement and stuff like that. But as far as inner peace and all that kind of stuff, that was all George Harrison. So you know, you probably couldn't have picked a more appropriate song to start 2021 out with. So good. So good job. Good job for you.
Good.
So.
You're good?
I'm good.
All right. Alrighty, everybody. Remember to join us on Discord and Patreon. Those links are down in the description below. If you want up-to-date information or you just want to be part of a fun community, Discord is the place to be. And if you really want to help us out financially, you can also join us on Patreon and become a Patreon member. Remember, we do have our P.O. Box if you'd like to send us anything. Unfortunately, I believe right now our borders, the United States borders, are shut down for international packages. So if you're in the United States, this is open to you. If it's not, if you're not in the United States, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that's just how the world is right now with COVID. Remember, we do have our request form down in the description below. Any songs on there, I will be writing reviews out on Discord as well. We do have our Teespring link down in the description below as well if you'd like to buy any of our merchandise. And last but not least, guys, we do have a subscriber goal. I'm going to bring back the 10,000 subscriber goal for 2021. I really want to hit this 10,000 goal. I had this set for 2020, and unfortunately, we did not meet it. But I do want to hit this 10,000 goal in 2021. I really want to hit that, and I think we can since we're at like 4,600 right now. So I really think we can do that. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to smack that like button, subscribe if you're new, and we will see you all on Thursday. Peace out.